All right, let's dive into one of the most frustrating and often totally invisible parts of living with fibromyalgia, those strange and sometimes painful things that happen with your skin. We're not just going to talk about what's going on, we're going to get into the why behind it all. Okay, so let me just ask you this. Have you ever had that super weird, creepy, crawly feeling like there are invisible bugs on you, but you look and there's absolutely nothing there? It's a bizarre sensation, isn't it? Or what about this? Someone gives you a hug, or it's just the fabric of your shirt touching you, and that simple, gentle touch feels, well, painful. Not just a little annoying, but genuinely, actually painful. If any of that is ringing a bell, here's the most important thing I want you to hear. You are not imagining it. These are real symptoms, and they have a real neurological cause. So let's break it down. You know, when most people think about fibromyalgia, they think about muscle aches and that deep, crushing fatigue. But for so many people, there's a whole other invisible battle going on, and it's happening right on the surface of their skin. So let's start with some of the absolute weirdest sensations, the ones where it honestly feels like your own nerves are just playing tricks on you. First up, we've got a sensation with a pretty wild name, formication. That's the actual official medical term for that phantom feeling of insects crawling on or even under your skin. And yeah, it's just as distressing as it sounds. People often describe it as a kind of scurrying or crawling, and it tends to be most intense on the arms, legs, or face. But here's the fascinating part. The root cause isn't in your skin at all. It's your nerves sending scrambled, confusing signals up to your brain. Okay, another really strange one is the feeling of getting an electric shock out of the blue. This is a type of neuropathic pain, which just means nerve-based pain, and it happens when your nerve endings completely misfire. It's often described as these sudden zaps or jolts of electricity running through your body, a lot of times in the hands and feet. And just like with formication, this is the nervous system going a bit haywire, sending these jarring signals that the brain interprets as a sudden shock. So we've talked about those bizarre sensations. Now let's shift gears to something that's equally challenging, the world of hypersensitivity. This is where an ordinary, everyday touch gets reinterpreted by the body as pain. And that brings us to a really key term, allodynia. It's the technical name for a condition where things that absolutely should not cause pain, like the light pressure of your clothes, suddenly do. I mean, you can imagine. This has a huge impact on daily life. Things we totally take for granted, wearing a t-shirt, brushing our hair, a friendly pat on the back, can trigger pain that can be anything from mild to really severe. And it all comes down to the brain just misinterpreting normal signals. Now, a close cousin to that is hyperesthesia. If allodynia is pain from a non-painful touch, hyperesthesia is like the volume on your sense of touch has been turned all the way up to max. It's an extreme amplification of all touch sensations. So what that means is a gentle caress can feel like intense, painful pressure. This can dramatically affect daily activities, making something like hugging a loved one really difficult. And the reason is that the nervous system is simply overloaded. It's reacting excessively to every single touch. And you know, for so many people, just hearing these symptoms described and given a name can be incredibly validating. A comment we saw from the Fibro warriors really says it all. I'm not imagining this. Thank you. It's such a powerful reminder of how isolating these feelings can be. So you've got crawling sensations, electric shocks, painful touch. They all seem so different from each other. But what's the one single thread that connects them all? It's time to unmask the central culprit here, because we're not talking about a bunch of separate issues. There's one single source driving all of this. And here it is. This is the key takeaway. The single root cause for all of these varied skin sensitivities is a hypersensitive central nervous system. That's it. So how does it work? Well, basically, the entire system, your brain and your spinal cord, becomes overly reactive. It takes a normal sensory input, like the touch of a shirt, and it just cranks the volume way, way up. Then your brain receives this amplified signal and misinterprets it as something else entirely. Crawling, an electric shock, or intense pain. Understanding the why is so empowering, right? So now let's shift to the what to do about it. Let's get into some practical, actionable strategies for taking back a sense of control over these sensitivities. Okay, so if you're dealing with that burning or itching feeling, something as simple as a cooling cream or a cold compress can really help calm the nerves.
For touch sensitivity, the fabric you wear really matters. Think loose, soft, natural stuff like cotton. If your skin seems to react to everything, try switching to fragrance-free hypoallergenic products. And for that temperature sensitivity, layering your clothes is your best friend, along with staying really well hydrated.
And of course, it's really important to say that these are just helpful tips. This is not medical advice. You should always consult with your own healthcare provider to get a plan that's personalized just for you. So we've covered the what, the how, and the why of these skin sensitivities. We'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you understand the neurological reason behind all these sensations, what's going to be your first step toward taking back a little bit of control?